Hello everybody, my name is Manan. Welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to talk about the 5 unexpected benefits of life in Estonia that you probably didn't think could be. Let's go. There are a lot of benefits of life in Estonia that are quite heavily advertised. For example, it's a startup hub. There is a lack of bureaucracy, paperwork, which is really good. And of course, the beautiful nature that we have in Estonia. There are a lot of drawbacks as well, and I've talked about both of them on my channel many times. But after living here in Estonia for almost 8 years, I've realized that there are a few benefits that you only get to realize if you have lived here for a very long time. I mean, these are the kind of benefits you didn't really know when you first came here, and even after 5 years you might not have understood them. But after living here for almost 9 years, finally get to see a few things that are very unique, and I see them as very big benefits to my life at least. So let's go ahead. Number 1, value of good weather. Now in Estonia, I have talked about many different times that majority of the year you don't get to see the sun. The majority of the year the sun is overcast, it's cloudy, and it's mostly cold. Actually quite cold if you talk about me, a person who has come from warmer climate in Asia. This means that for the majority of the year you are stuck inside. And if there is good weather, if there is a sunny day, if there is a warmer day, then you get to appreciate it a lot, because if there is a good weather like it is right now these days, then everybody goes outside, sits in the sun, go outside, and you see that all the malls and the shopping centers, these are all deserted because people are going out and enjoying the sun. On a personal level, I feel that I have a lot of value and respect for good weather now, for sun specifically. Every time I go back home to Pakistan and there is good sun, I sit outside for like hours just reading and doing anything. And I see the same thing happening in Estonia as well. Like anytime there is really good weather, people really enjoy it. People talk about it. People go outside for hiking, swimming, all these different kinds of things. And I think the benefit that I'm talking about here is that this good weather, the sun, and these things that might be taken for granted if you were, for example, living in a country where you have sun the whole year, like, I don't know, California or South Asia or Southeast Asia, then you might not appreciate, you might not get the kind of joy that people get here, which is a small thing, but you only get to appreciate it if you have lived here for like many years. And if you don't see the sun for a whole year, then imagine seeing a very warm day. Imagine seeing the same place that you saw under like 5 feet of snow and warm, and you know, like you could go outside and you could enjoy with all these different things. This is a very huge benefit, and I feel that I have much more value for good weather, for warmth, for sun. But paradoxically, I only get the value if I don't see it for a very long time. If I move to a warmer climate where I see sun the whole year, I don't think I will be appreciative of it as much as it is I'm here right now. Number 2, the food. Now, I have been criticized a lot. I have been lambasted a lot by Estonians because I have criticized their taste in food. I don't deny it at all. I mean, Estonian food is generally very bland. There is not a lot of variety there. For a lot of time when I was eating outside, when I was working, then I really missed the food back home. But now I have come to realize that Estonian food has its benefit as well if you compare it to the food that we have here, you know, in South Asia, in all these Asian countries, and for example, even European countries. Because majority of our food, our home food, non-Estonian food, is actually not so healthy. It's filled with oil, it's filled with fats, it's greasy, and all these things are not beneficial for your health in a very long term. I mean, for example, in my country, I think majority of the reason why people have so much heart disease is majority related to just to our food, because we can't stop eating this food at all. Even though at first you come to Estonia, you see, okay, well, man, this is such bland food, I don't like it. Where can I, you know, get some tasty food? But eventually, if you acclimatize to that, if you start eating this kind of food, it is definitely healthy. You are increasing your lifespan, not just because you are breathing this pure air, but just because you're also eating the kind of food that is not ruining your health. Small benefit, but it is also very important. And in turn, I also want to mention that living in Estonia and coming in Estonia, it also brings you this benefit of taking care of your body and yourself and your intake, what you're also doing, because everybody looks so good and everybody is so athletic that you can't help but try to improve your health as well. So that is a really important thing, and that I feel is a very good benefit that I have learned after living here in Estonia for such a long time. Number 3 is by far the biggest benefit of life in Estonia, and that has to do with cold and unapproachable people. So Estonians, as I mentioned, generally are not very warm people. You have to break ice with them. It takes a very, very long time to get to know them. And especially a lot of my foreign friends have commented that if you go outside to the shopping store, to the grocery aisle, every time when the person is handing you your check or anything, there is no greeting or anything. There is no verbal comment or thank you or take care or goodbye, which is very commonplace in many other European countries and pretty much everywhere that I've been to outside of Estonia. But if you live here long enough, then you tend to see this as a benefit, because despite the fact that they're cold and unapproachable, you get to really value warm behavior. So if somebody smiles at you, if you're going out at a cashier, you have been going there for a while, and they smile at you, then you know it in your heart that it is very, very genuine, and you can actually see that. Similar is with friends. Like if you are with your friends and they are smiling, they're approachable, they're warm and all these things when you're meeting for the first time, then you know that it is very genuine and there is no like societal compulsion for them to be behaving this way. Same goes for customer service as well. I mean, Estonian customer service has gone increasingly better in the last 5 years, I think. I mean, back when I first came here, it was pretty much non-existent. You actually felt a little bad asking for help to a customer representative, but now it has increased so much. It's so much better now. And I feel that every time is somebody helpful to you or somebody gives you help in any other matter, and I have been in this position for much time where I couldn't explain myself in Estonian properly, and I asked the person to switch to English, and they graciously accepted that, and they were really cordial about that. They were not mad or anything about that. And that all these small things, they tend to mean a lot to you now. One of the things that really made me miss Estonia was the first time when I went to the US. I was in this store in the Barnes & Noble, which is a really big store in Boston, and I was buying a book, and I went to this cashier. She was an older lady, and I paid for this. When I was going back, she said thank you, and she had this huge smile on her face, but it felt so creepy because the smile was just here, like here. There was nothing on the eyes. And if you know body language, then you actually know that true smiles and genuine smiles are differentiated by how you see eyes. And it's not really here because anybody can do this, but true genuine smiles are actually shown in your eyes. That creeped me out so much. That was so bad. I realized that if I were in Estonia, then the person would not have smiled at all, actually. And I don't think the person there at the Barnes & Noble in the US was smiling because she wanted to, or maybe she liked me, or she liked the title of the book, but she was smiling because it was part of the customer service manual that they were given. And it didn't feel genuine or lifting at all. I'm not criticizing any nationality, but I am just bringing this out as a contrast to life in Estonia versus life in any other culture where, you know, like being cordial and welcoming and all these things are appreciated. Obviously, there are a lot of interactions that are genuine and warmth. And I think in South European countries, for example, in Spain and Italy, you actually get to see this a lot more. You don't see any fake smiles or all these things. But if you are in Estonia, then smiles generally and warmth is so rare from people you just met that you know that it is genuine, that it has to do something genuine and heartfelt. It's not fake. It's not based that they want anything from you. So that is a very, very good thing that I have understood about life here in Estonia. Number 4, which is the value of solitude, of being alone. One of the reasons why I often recommend people to visit Estonia is that you can be here and nobody will bother you. I mean, you will be here alone, or you can be here alone for the majority of the time that you are here. If you are single, if you are not living with anybody, then you can be alone for as much as you like. This can be really frightening at first because I come from a culture where it is very collective. We have a whole family, we have a whole structure, and which is the same for many other Asian cultures as well. Like your identity is wrapped around the identity of the family, so you're sort of never alone by yourself. But when you come here, you see for the first time who you yourself, outside of your family, outside of your identity in your country, what you really are. And this you only know if you are alone. Being alone is frightening for many people, but if you are in Estonia, then you have to be alone for the majority of the time unless you're living with somebody else, because it's not so easy to socialize, and you will have to confront, and you will have to be able to live with yourself. You will have to be able to become really good friends with yourself. I don't know if this makes sense to many other people, but this has been a huge factor of why I lived in Estonia for such a long time, because it is the place that enabled me to find my own identity, find my own voice, find out actually who I really was. And I don't think it would have been possible if I had lived in any other culture, even if it was, for example, the US or any other place where, still Western country with a lot of influence from my own country as well. So you are never truly alone, even when you are abroad. I often recommend to many other friends and people as well that if you want to write something, if you want to create a book, if you want to create a movie, or if you want to have a creative output, just come to Estonia, rent cabin by the lake for like 2 or 3 months and just finish your whole thing. And I think this is the best place, or one of the best places that you can actually do that. Number 5, you can start a new life without any judgment. Now, Estonians are one of the least religious people in the world, as we already know, and we have been told many times. But this in turn has a benefit that there is really no judgment. Like, there is no religious judgment. You don't have to conform to any social or religious identities when you are here. Nobody will judge you. Nobody will ask you why you're not married, why you don't have kids, why you're not graduated, why you don't have a job. All these kind of social pressures that we see in many other countries. And this means that you are free to make a life of your own. You're free to choose. You're free to start. This is like a huge freedom that you have. I think that is one of the reasons why majority of the people who didn't intend to stay in Estonia end up staying in Estonia. I know a lot of creative people, a few of them are really good friends, who came to Estonia thinking that they would not stay here for much longer time, but they ended up staying here. I see this behavior much more in creative people who are performers, actors, directors, writers, circus performers. These are the people who come here and then they see that there is this huge place, a vacuum where they can create their own identity and then share it with anybody, and nobody will judge them in that way. That is a huge benefit as well. In my own life, that has played quite immensely. Like, for example, I'm sitting right now in front of you and I'm on a YouTube channel. I'm talking about all these things. I don't think it would have been possible if I was, for example, living in my home country. Then I don't think I would have been able to recreate myself or find the kind of freedom that has enabled me to find my own voice, find my own identity, and find out about all these different things that I was able to do in order to reach this place. So this was the final benefit. Now, if you are a foreigner in Estonia, or if you are Estonian who has lived abroad and who also lived in Estonia, then I would really like to hear your comments. What do you think is one of the good benefit of life in Estonia that is probably unexpected? It's not much talked about. I'd really like to know from your comments. Thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.